So, Rare have said that Season 21 and beyond is about going back to the roots of Sea of Thieves, making the game feel more like Sea of Thieves again, focusing on the core experience, the sandbox, the world, and hopefully getting back some of the magic that made this game so special in the first place. Well, let's put your money where your mouth is, Rare. If we're genuinely going to go back to its roots, then let's actually start making changes that support that philosophy. And I think we can start with something incredibly simple. Hourglass needs to be removed from adventure mode completely. It just makes sense. And the reason is actually pretty difficult to argue against when you look at how a Sea of Thieves server physically works. A server has a maximum of 24 players and 6 ships. That's it. 6 boats. 6. If you're lucky. So whenever you have 2 Hourglass battles happening on that server, you potentially have 4 ships locked into PvP matchmaking, meaning 4 of your 6 available ship slots are effectively removed from the adventure experience. That's 2/3 of a server population of ships effectively going, "Sorry lads, we're busy stabbing each other somewhere else." Now, you might not even know it's happening. You could be sailing around thinking, "Wow, it's a dead server today. Weird, nobody's doing anything." Meanwhile, somewhere over the horizon, 4 ships are sweating for dear life listening to trap music, and then they disappear. Another 4 ships join, they dive, they fight, they leave, more players dive, more fights happen, and suddenly you're sailing around a server that feels completely empty despite there technically being people on it. And this becomes even worse when Golden Glory is on, or Fight Nights, or the thousands of other reputation multipliers Rare churns out for ultimate clickbait. This is in fact what generates this dead server feedback everyone's complaining about. Not that it's a dead game, not that matchmaking is broken, it's simply Hourglass matches bogging up the server space. That's the problem. Hourglass is effectively taking a significant portion of the server's player population and effectively removing them from adventure mode. And before someone says, "But Falcore, what about Hourglass defending?" Yes, defending exists. You can sail around, generate treasure, build up your treasure grade, and eventually get invaded by another crew. The problem is that from a progression perspective, it's fundamentally inefficient. If your objective is to gain Hourglass reputation, you can spend the same amount of time doing regular Hourglass matchmaking and potentially getting multiple fights and substantially more reputation than you would by spending ages building up a treasure grade and waiting for someone to invade you. In the time you've spent filling your ship with treasure, sailing around hoping that someone presses that big red "come and fight me" button, you could have probably done 4 or 5 regular matches. So defending isn't really a competitive alternative to matchmaking. It's more of a very niche way of playing Hourglass that a relatively small percentage of players genuinely enjoy. And that's fine. People should absolutely be allowed to enjoy weird things. There are people who voluntarily fish for hours in Sea of Thieves. There are people who collect pineapples. There are people who like this ship set, which is nice for them, I suppose. I'm not here to judge. Well, maybe a little. But we have to look at what that niche activity is doing to the rest of the game. Because adventure mode is supposed to be a shared sandbox. It's where the emergent encounters happen. It's where you see another ship on the horizon and think, are they friendly? Are they stacked? Are they about to ruin my evening? That's the magic of Sea of Thieves. You don't know what's going to happen. And Hourglass effectively removes ships from that ecosystem. Hourglass players don't want to be involved in adventure mode, and they certainly don't want people in adventure mode interrupting their battle. This whole thing has been futile since its arrival. It just makes sense. Now, I'm not saying Hourglass should disappear, quite the opposite. I think Hourglass is fantastic, but it's outgrown adventure mode. We now have dedicated environments for competitive PvP. We've got the last ship standing map, we've got legendary locations thanks to custom seas, such as the Sea of the Damned Arena Tavern, Old Sailor's Isle with a massive open sea map. We've got dedicated locations that can facilitate these kind of encounters without taking valuable ship slots away from the adventure sandbox. So why are we still forcing competitive Hourglass matchmaking into the same 6-ship ecosystem that adventure mode relies upon? Move it! Put all Hourglass matches outside of adventure mode. No defending, no treasure grade, no waiting around hoping someone invades you. Just queue up, get your fight, earn your reputation, and get back out. It just makes sense. Want PvP? Go play Hourglass. Want adventure? Go sail adventure. Want to do both? Great! Do them separately, because right now we're trying to make one tiny server population serve two completely different purposes. And when you only have 6 ships to work with, 4 of them being locked in Hourglass is a massive chunk of your server. If we want more organic encounters, player interaction, more emergent PvP, more alliances, more betrayals, more random nonsense, and more of those moments that make Sea of Thieves actually feel like Sea of Thieves, we need ships in adventure mode, not ships sitting in matchmaking. So the solution is incredibly simple. Remove Hourglass from adventure mode, abolish defending, move every Hourglass match into a dedicated PvP environment like Last Ship Standing and the newer custom seas locations, give Hourglass players a better, faster, more focused PvP experience, and give adventure mode all 6 ships back.
It just makes sense.
Because honestly, I don't think either side loses here. The Hourglass factions still get their progression, the adventure mode gets more actual players sailing around in it, which means more ships, more encounters, more stories, more chaos, more Sea of Thieves. And if the worst thing that happens is that a handful of people can no longer spend 47 minutes filling their ship up with loot while praying that someone attacks them, well, I think we can all survive. And this isn't the only thing that needs to change to make Sea of Thieves feel like it used to. A lot of stuff is outdated now. We've got core mechanics that are desperately in need of an overhaul, quests and activities that could flow much better, and systems that were designed for a very different version of Sea of Thieves than the one we're playing today. And that's what I want to start looking at. So over the next few weeks, I'll be going through all of it. These ideas are going to come from extensive player feedback, ideas I've heard from other people over the years, conversations with the community, and of course my own experience of playing this game for over 10,000 hours. I've fought players, I've helped players, I've trolled players, I've reported players, I've been sunk by players, I've sunk players. I've made some questionable decisions involving players, and I've spent an absolutely ridiculous amount of time just existing inside this sandbox and getting a feel for how it works, where it doesn't, and where things have gradually become outdated or just stopped making much sense. And there are a lot of things that I think need to change over the next few months. Some need completely overhauling, some probably just need a little love, and some might need to be dragged out behind a tavern and quietly put down. But that's what we're going to figure out. So, if I could ask you folks to head over to the post section of my channel, I've queued up a few polls over there asking where you think the work needs to be done. Tell me what you think needs changing, tell me what's outdated, and tell me what is frustrating you. That'll give me a much better idea of where you think the biggest problems are and where I should focus my attention in upcoming videos. Because if Rare really does want to make Sea of Thieves feel like Sea of Thieves again, well, let's help them figure out what that actually means. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. If you want to keep up to date and guarantee a chest of fortune in every single world event, then click the like button and chuck me a subscription.
It just makes sense.
And I'll see you folks very soon. Happy sailing.